hello, I am Etienne Mbappe, bass player. You're watching for bassplayers.only.com.
Hi everyone, I'm John Liebman. You're watching for bassplayers.only.com. Today we are here with a very special guest, Etienne Mbappe. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. Did I pronounce your name right?
Oh yeah, Etienne Mbappe. It's free,
Mbappe, not Mbappe, Mbappe. From Cameroon. Cameroon. Tell me about. I know you left Cameroon when you were a teenager, but you lived there for about 14 years or so. So I am interested to hear about your earliest musical influences, the rhythms from Cameroon, and what you were exposed to. Tell me about your musical upbringing.
Well, I started. I think my musical experience started with for a Christmas they offered a guitar to my older brother, and he showed me my first chords. So I started playing guitar and playing whatever was like a popular Cameroonian music, Makossa, whatever. As soon as I knew one chord, I was already like, I'm rich, and that was great for me.
You were about how old at the time?
I was, I think, 11.
Okay.
11. And so my brother showed me my first chords, and after that, there are a few guys who were playing around. So I went to see them and say, hey, do you want to teach me something? He said, yeah. But before I teach you, you got to go to tell that girl I love her. Okay, I said, okay, I can do that easily, no problem. So he loves you. Okay, show me the chords. That's how I started. And but coming to music, that was pretty much Cameroonian music, African music. That was it. I didn't know who the Beatles were. I didn't know about. I was a perfect ignorant. That was what.
Was it that you were ignorant or that you didn't have the opportunity? Bagiti Kumalo is a pretty good friend of mine, and he was telling me that they just didn't have it available. There was the Black Station and there was the other station, but he didn't know who the Beatles were till like the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much because when I think I heard something like "Let It Be," that song, I heard it played somewhere. Something like, "Let It Be." That sounded for me like my English was that bad at that time. Even though Cameroon is, we speak both languages. We're supposed to speak English and French, but I'm from the French part. And when you say French, we are lazy. We don't want to study English. So pretty much I studied my English at school. So I think I heard "Let It Be" played somewhere, and that's all I knew. I mean, later on, I discovered that was the Beatles. I didn't know that was from who that was. So I started playing African music, and that's it until I reached France at the age of 14. Then my years just went. I think there's some other thing that I heard when I was 12, something like that, was Hotel California. From the, you see what I mean? Oh, yeah. And those beautiful chords and and this guitar solo. I mean, I just was, I want to play that guitar solo, And that's pretty much it. And when I reached France, I was in a classroom with a friend of mine, and we used to come in my home, and I used to go to his room playing guitar. He was a guitar player, and I was playing, and his dad was near. Say, "Wow, what is this?" I said, "That's Cameroonian music." So yeah, do you have music for that? I say, music? Like, do you have written music for that? I say, written music? No. Do you read music? I say, no. Do you want to start? Do you want to study? I say, yes. I'm the guitar teacher in the next conservatory. I'm taking you there. So that's how I end up being in a conservatory at the age of, should I say, 14 or 15, knowing nothing about classical music, knowing nothing about pretty much nothing, and being in a class with kids who were like 4 years old. And I was like, and studying the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. I was like, wow. That's how I started.
Well, how did you become a bass player?
Every Cameroonian is supposed to have some bass in his ear and in his mind, because we had so many great older brothers, let's say, living in France, mostly, some in the States, that we heard when we were young. And the thing was, we were singing all the bass part, being musician or not. We sing it, that they were playing. And there was a special guy that was so talented, still is, a guy called Vic Edimo. And we used to receive some LP, from Cameroonian music, but made in France. I mean, we just were swallowing all the bass lines and singing them, being a bass player or not. When you were a guitar player, you had to know how to sing that bass part. It was like a written piece. And everybody guitar player, drummer. No, he's doing like ding ding, and that guy was just a really fan of Motown, James Jamerson. Maybe he heard some Jacko too, some Stanley, and just transcribed that in African Cameroonian music. And we heard it, and this guy for us is as big as Jacko is, as Stanley, all those beautiful players are, because we didn't know them before. We knew Vic Edimo.
Okay, but the other guys, Jamerson and Jocko and Stanley, did they become influences of yours around that time?
Yeah, but pretty much when I reached France at age of 14, so I went to the conservatory, studying my guitar, classical guitar, and doing my stuff. And then my friend, hooked me up with the Beatles, the Stones. Do you know about this? No. John McLaughlin, Electric Guitarist album. I'm like,
That was one of my favorite albums.
and I was like, what's this?
New York on My Mind.
I mean, what's this? I mean, first of all, what is this music? What are they doing? I mean, there's no singing, there's no nothing. How do they know where they are? And that's my, I'm starting to get into it. And there was a guy, an American guy that I knew from Paris, hooked me up with Stanley. I said, you know about the weather report? I said, no. You heard about Jacko? No. Who the hell is Jacko? Hooked me up with some LP, and that's how I discovered Jacko. I discovered Stanley. I discovered all those, and I was like, wow. And I started to play like, want to play like Jacko, and Jacko sounded so familiar to me. I said, what kind of name is that? What Jacko Pistorius? This guy must be from Cameroon somewhere, because I told the story to Joe Zawino, he couldn't believe it, because his playing was so familiar to us, coming from this guy, Vic Edimo, playing all the ting ting, all the ghost note, all the ting 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 ting. When I heard Jacko, I said, man, that's a nickname. This guy's from Cameroon somewhere.
It is a nickname.
No, I
His
don't.
name was John Anthony Pastorius.
Yeah, John Francis.
John Francis Anthony Pastorius. I think, well, between the two of us, we got it right.
And so
That's why we just say Jocko.
I got familiar with all these, but then someone told me, "Hey, Jacko is good, Stanley is good, but you have to start with, Miles Davis and the story of jazz, Paul Chambers." And I said, "Wow, there's so much to learn, man."
Well, did you just put the guitar aside or just a little bit?
All
Or?
of a sudden, we wanted to build a band. There are a few guys that were playing, and we were like 12 guitar players. And I said, "I think I can play the bass." "Oh yeah, have you ever?" I think I touched it one, but I can sing a bass, so I can. So I passed an exam. I was like a 15 or 16. My dad bought me a bass, and that was his nightmare. Since I got that bass, I just was like, man, no more sleeping, just trying to copy whoever was, and learning. I mean, I was so late, I didn't know, and trying to learn some bass line from Paul McCartney and from the beat. I said, wow, that's beautiful. Jacko is beautiful too, and Stanley is beautiful, and this Abraham Laboriel. Oh, man,
Well, you mentioned Paul Chambers. You also mentioned Stanley, but it made me wonder, did you ever play upright bass?
yes, because after a few years of classical guitar, I wanted, when I started to play bass with my friends, I wanted to study bass now. But by that time, in the conservatory, classical conservatory, no electric bass. They say, you want to play bass? Okay, here's that big thing over there. You're going to play it. So, okay, here's a bow. Say, a bow? No, I don't want to play with it. Say, you start by
French bow, I assume?
yeah. So I started to play classical upright, and that's my musical study. A little bit of classical guitar, a little bit of upright classical, and that's it.
Okay, I've got to ask you about technique. What's with the gloves?
Those gloves are more known than I am. My name is not that easy. So you say Etienne Mbappe, I don't know him. The guy with the gloves? Oh yeah, I know him. That's how. So I made some experience with. I don't know. Actually, I was playing with a towel, a little towel. I was handling bass with a little towel. I didn't want to see my finger, and my wife said, "Why don't you try something with gloves?"
Why did you put a towel on there in the first place?
I just was experimenting something because he gave me this kind of a muted sound, a little bit muted, and it was also a challenge to not seeing my fingers, So I covered my hand with a little towel, and just was yeah, I can do it, Say, well, you can do it. You're going to play with gloves. Why don't you? Well, with a towel. Why don't you try gloves? So I took a woolen, like wool, made of wool, gloves. But after 1 minute, they break. And my wife just said, why don't you try silk glove? I said, silk glove? What is silk glove? They use that for in the mountains. Some people put that like underneath the a ski glove, ski, and I happened to try it.
Is that part of your sound? I guess it must be.
Yeah, I mean, it became a part of my sound. After, I just was trying. Yeah, okay, all the gloves are, and also there's something that I have. I'm a very emotional guy. Pretty shy, and I sweat a lot. My hands are, I can, sweat, and sometimes I used to kill my strings in about, let's say 3 songs. The strings are dead. But playing with a towel or playing with gloves, now I change my strings pretty much when they break, and they never break, so I can get them for 6 months there. They still brand new.
You must have very soft hands with no calluses or anything, right?
I still got some. I think I still got some. So that's the story with the gloves, and those gloves became a part of my sound. I did some experiment in the studio with or without. Believe it or not, with I can hear a smoother sound, bigger. Without, sometimes I sound like I'm playing with a pick. For me, in my ear.
That's interesting. You mentioned Joe Zawinul a couple of times. Tell me about him. I know you played with him for a while. Do you have a Joe Zawinul story, or can you share with us something about Joe Zawinul that we may not already know?
I have many stories with Joe.
How about one?
First of all,
or two.
When we met in Paris because he was producing a CD of a Malian singer called Salif Keita.
Excuse me, this would have been about when?
That 1990, precisely,
Okay.
1990.
So right after Gerald Veasley was playing with him, right?
Yeah, but I wasn't playing with him yet. He was producing a CD for Salif Keita, and I was playing with Salif Keita. So he came in a studio in Paris, and he stayed for 2 months in Paris.
Wow.
But most of the time when we was rehearsal, in a break when Salif was out for coffee or whatever, we used to play some Weather Report stuff. Say, that? Say, if I know that, are you kidding me? So and playing all that stuff. Say, wow, great, that's great. And that's how we happened to know. We did the album with Salif Keita, and I got a call from him like almost 8 or 10 years later. I said, do you want to join my band? Say, oh, you want to think about it? I say yes. I say yes because I'm committed in some stuff in it. Okay, so I'll call you tomorrow. I say, what do you mean tomorrow? Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow. You got to think about it tonight, and I'll call you tomorrow. Sure, when he called me, I was involved in a tour with a pop singer and whatever. I said to the guy, man, you got to let me go. I'm not going to miss that, I'm not going to miss that. This is, for me, it's a kind of a dream becoming true. So, and the guy said, okay, when are you back? I said, in about 3 months. Okay, when are you back? You just come here. Your place is... It took a guy to serve for me, and that's my starting with Joe.
How long were you with Joe?
Almost 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, almost 3 years.
All right. Tell me about John McLaughlin. That is a pretty nice gig, too.
I knew about John McLaughlin, as I told you earlier, and he saw me in a festival, Nice Jazz Festival, south of France, playing with Joe. And he came after the show, my dressing room. Hey, Joe, how you doing? Hey, man, what's your name? My name is Etienne. Discreetly, please can you give me your number? That's what he said, because I don't want Joe to say that. Wow. So discreetly, and there was a drummer called Paco Seri playing with Joe as well. Say, please write down Paco's number as well. I wrote the numbers, and I got a call like 8 years later.
Wow.
Like 8 years later, I say, do you want to join my band? Say,
You had the same phone number 8 years later?
Yeah, well, you can find my number easily. He knows some musician, and phone number is just nothing. And he called me, I was at the NAM show. He said, you're at NAM, right? I said, how do you know I'm at NAM? I said, I know, I'm following you, I watched some videos. I said, oh, did you? I said, okay. So NAM is in January. I said, okay, so we're touring from April. I said, April, okay, I can do it, yeah. Before you hang, I say, April next year, not this year. Say, April next year. So I got plenty of time. Yeah. You do what you say. Yeah, totally. Wow. And so that's how I got the gig. No audition, nothing. Just say I want you.
Wow. And so you've been with him how long now?
This is my I think 7 or 8 years. Yeah. I'm with him.
Okay. Tell me about your equipment.
I'm sure I own a lot of basses. I love many. I've been supporting some luthier from France. I really like F basses. I like Sadowski. I've been playing Sadowski for a long time. I own few Fodera too. Some are a little bit heavy, and old one like Empire bass, they're a little bit heavy. So I love basses and on many, and I'm playing different. You know, depends of the music I'm playing, and I play on amp. I'm playing EBS amp.
EBS.
Yeah, EBS amps. I love EBS sound. I love really EBS sound. And
How about strings?
strings, I'm using DR strings. Oh, DR. Beautiful family. I know the family now. I know Mark Drange. I know Anika. I know Rosa. And beautiful strings. And, you know, it's just, you want to try the string? I try them once in a while. I love them. You want them? Okay, boom. And that's, you know, moral, you know, it's, I love people like that. Just, you want to do, there's no audition. There's no, you want to sign it. Take it, you know, you want it. Yeah, that's it.
How about effects? Use any effects?
I have many EBS pedals, black label pedals. There's some new ones too coming, and a little bit heavy too in the suitcase. So sometimes I take them off and get two of them. I'm not really an effect guy. I use most of the time. I can use an octaver. I love octaver.
Yeah.
Octaver. I can use a little bit of chorus. I sing as well. So sometimes a chorus or how do you call that? Tremolo. You know, when you're doing a little ballad with just a bass, sounds pretty nice. So I use EBS and I'm very happy with that.
Okay. How about the future? I mean, you've got a lot of energy, which I admire, and you've still got a lot of notes left in you, I can tell. What else would you like to do that you haven't already accomplished?
I have two bands of mine. One pretty much pop, like African pop, a little bit jazzy too, but really nice band that I built like 15 years ago. I did 3 CDs with them, and on my name, Etienne Mbappe. And I just built another band, more that I don't want to sing in. It's a more jazz, more improvisation, no singing, no voices, and that's called The Prophet. So it's Etienne Mbappe and The Prophet, and beautiful music, 7-piece band with drums, bass, keyboard, and guitar, and saxophone, trumpet, and a violin.
So you'd like to do something with your own bands and cultivate that as a solo artist as opposed to a sideman.
Yeah. I don't mind being a sideman, you know, for a tour, for whatever, you know. I just want to share experience and get more rich in my, you know, my playing, my composing, my writing, my, you know, and playing with people really helps me for that, because I love to hear other people's music, to hear the approach of harmony, approach of music, melody, approach of whatever, and you know, I take from everyone, teaches me something.
Well, you be sure to keep us posted on all of those projects, and we'd be happy to hear about it and share it with our audience at forbasspleyersonly.com.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so great getting to know you, Etienne Mbappe. Thank you very much. I am John Liebman. You're watching forbasspleyersonly.com.